All right. So I think we can begin to kick off here. So welcome everybody to a webinar that we're going to be covering some of the easiest ways to secure your SaaS workloads, which will also include Dynamics 365. So just to give you a quick intro of who will be presenting, it'll be myself. So my name is Casper. I work for Sherweb. I'm the product manager on the continuity side, looking after the various continuity products that we have. I'll be joined today by Rick Sloan, who's over at Keepit. And we'll be kind of discussing the Keepit product, how it differentiates itself, and then also why it's important that you, as an MSP, secure your SaaS workloads in your various environments with your customers. So, quick agenda here. Like I mentioned, we'll have a quick State of the Union of SaaS backup in 2025. We'll get into the Keepit product, and then ultimately, how do you, as an existing or potentially new customer to Sherweb, get started with Keepit? I'll highlight some useful resources, and we'll get into a Q&A. So with that, the SaaS backup market in 2025. So there are three prevailing trends that we've noticed through our own research and also research from third parties that a lot of MSPs are, obviously encountering. The first one is an increase in cyber threats. So mainly cyber threats around SaaS applications, especially the large cloud providers. And if you can see in the far left column here, that percentage of cyber attacks is growing significantly year after year. So there's a high degree of importance for you as an MSP to be able to protect yourself and protect those respective workloads. Rick, is there anything you want to add to that?
No. Hey, Casper, and hi again, everybody. I'm Rick Sloan here with Keepit. What we're all seeing is a couple of areas, not only in the cyber attacks, that with the world of how we are these days, it's definitely increasing. The percentages are there. We're going to go through this in a little bit more detail. There is also the areas of accidental deletions, disgruntled employees. And so we see the percentages increasing in cyber threats, there's also increases from internal either sabotage or employee accidents that just happen. And so we'll go through a bunch of those details here in a few minutes.
Correct. We'll also be, evaluating the fact that there's quite a bit of regulatory pressure coming from the various frameworks across the different geographies where you host data. And obviously, these having policies in place and protections in place to protect your business and also protect your customers is critical to making sure that you grow your business in a sustainable fashion. And shared responsibility, right? Ultimately, the responsibility falls on your shoulders as the MSP, but also on the shoulders of the providers. And they've made that quite clear in their legal documentation. So it's important that you have not just comprehensive backup, but you're actually responsible for making sure that that backup is protected in an adequate way. So with that, I'll pass it off to Rick, who's going to go over Keepit, the product, but more importantly, what's the real value of making sure that you protect these workloads and how can you do it as efficiently as possible?
Great. Thank you, Casper. And again, I'm Rick Sloan. This is going to be the only time I'm actually going to read the slide, but I think it's important to really understand what our mission statement is, who Keepit is, and what we're doing to solve MSP customer problems out in the marketplace. And we provide really the next level SaaS data protection platform. It's a purpose built for the cloud, securing data in a vendor independent cloud to safeguard the essential business applications that you all have responsibility for as well, boost the cyber resilience, and most important, future-proof the data protection, not just now, but also for the future. Go ahead. Next slide. And so what we're seeing in trends, I want to cover just a couple of trends of what we're seeing in the market. And then we're going to go into more about what the product is, how does it work, and how does it actually address those three key areas that Casper had brought up, at the beginning as well. And what we're seeing in the industry is an increase in SaaS application adoption. Industry analysts are predicting that probably about 75% of all software by the end of this decade is going to be delivered in a consumable SaaS application. This space is growing with an increase of SaaS application adoption also comes with the increase of cyber threats, but also having different compliancy regulatory needs that are coming in from governments in different parts of the world, whether it's NIS2 over in Europe, enhanced GDPR, and what we're doing here in the US and Canada and the Americas to also work with some of those compliances. Next slide. And so what we've seen across the board is where we said there's an increase of 75% of the cyber threats. There's also other areas of where data loss comes from. So what we do at Keepit is we wake up every day with one focus: how to keep your data, your customers' data, in a safe and secure environment and keep it stored for when and if you need it. And so where accidents come from a lot of times is human errors. Oops, I lost a file. I can't find it. How do I get it recovered? There's stories out there on malicious deletions. In California, there was a temp IT person at an end user who was abruptly released one day, wasn't happy about it. Woke up the next morning and said, I wonder if they took away my credentials. And sadly, they didn't. And they went in and decided, hey, what a great opportunity to go in. I'll pay them back, and wiped out everybody's credentials, all the employees' credentials, crippled the company. But what does that do for an MSP who owns the fiduciary responsibility within your end customers? It cripples you, it cripples the end user, and it's an embarrassment for the company out in the marketplace. And so for this individual, thinking it was such a great idea, ended up spending 2 years in prison and having huge fines. But it took months for the company to have to rebuild not only all of their data sets and all of their information, but to overcome in a PR type environment of overcoming the embarrassment with all their customers. And we all live in a glass house, so I'm not a big believer in throwing stones. But months ago, we saw kind of the perfect storm happen. An accident happened with a third party with CrowdStrike, where a lot of screens went blue, Azure went down, and at the same time, people could not access their data. And so how do you have a backup that's stored in an independent cloud, that's stored in an immutable format, and be able to recover when and if you need to? Next slide. And so in addition to ransomware, there's other areas of where you need to protect your customers' data. So let's get into who's Keepit. We're not new to the space. We have been growing strategically globally. We are a global organization, global headquarters out of Copenhagen, Denmark, here in the US, out of Dallas, Texas, with data centers throughout the globe. Remember my first slide that I started to put together? We have our own independent cloud, our own independent data centers. So our co-founders decided to take a little bit different journey in the market than the other SaaS providers that are out in the market. And we've become known as the disruptor in the marketplace. We've become more and more popular in a consumable fashion through Sherweb in our platform with all MSPs like yourselves. Well over 15,000 customers, over 5 million users rely on us to protect their data in a safe and secure environment. Lots of industry analysts are recognizing us. They're calling us a disruptor in the market. But security and regulations brings us to the point of ISA 3402, which is your SOC 1, SOC 2 compliance, where ISO 2701, 27001, HIPAA, NIST, PCI, All of the certifications that you would expect a data center to have, we have. We leverage Equinix for our data center infrastructure, but we own the stack and we have no sub-processors. And so when you look at being able to retain cyber resiliency in an environment, in a data center, to make sure that when and if you ever need to recover a customer's data, it will be there for you. Data sovereignty is important. As you can see, we have data centers all over the globe. And not only do we have one, but we actually have 2 data centers in every one of these locations for resiliency. And I'm going to go through that in just a few minutes here. Next slide. So what are the common uses for the SaaS data backup and recovery? And keep in mind, as we go through this presentation, the easy part that a lot of vendors can do is the backup. Backing up data, it's great, easy. Our value prop, our secret sauce comes in the recovery. So day-to-day recovery becomes extremely important, more efficient. How do you optimize your help desk, your ability to recover files for your customers, while at the same time being compliant and making sure that if they're a healthcare organization, it's HIPAA compliant. If it's a European global organization, or up in Canada, it's GDPR and all of the other types of compliances that get recovered. You're going to hear me talk a little bit more in a few slides about how disaster recovery was created, but where we are in a cloud-based API first design platform. When backup used to be on-prem, there was an unwritten rule, a 3-2-1 rule. Everybody knows it. 3 copies in 2 locations, and one of them should be off-site. And so what we challenge yourselves, who own the responsibility for end customers, and we ask customers all the time, why is it if you're using a backup today for SaaS applications that most other vendors will store their backup back into the same public cloud as their production? And that's 1 copy. So why is it okay in a shared responsibility model that Casper spoke about, where your Microsoft, your Salesforce, they own the infrastructure, but you and the customer own the data? And so being cyber ready, having the cyber resiliency, I'm going to talk about the immutability and how this is built by design and not by policy. Next slide. So target markets, right where you all fit. SMBs is an absolute great space for what we refer to as a white glove like service. It's simple, easy to use, easy to recover. It's great not only for those organizations that have less than a handful of employees, but this is a solution that actually scales. We have a different component, a different division of our organization that also deals in the enterprise. And we have organizations like Equins with over 100,000 employees, 200,000 licenses, Porsche Holdings with over 60,000, Red Bull, 30,000 users. So when we look at how do we scale, this is an easy solution for MSPs to be able to easily provision sub-accounts and be able to bring on additional end users and have a multi-tenancy type platform that really scales and focused around the small, medium business in a consumable model. And again, whether it's regulatory industries, healthcare, finance, legal, our certifications, our security helps lock down all of those environments. Next slide. So architecture. I spoke on the opening slide where we had the diagram of all the different data centers, and I said, I'm going to come back to this. What does our data centers look like? How does the data sovereignty actually work? And so in every one of our data centers throughout the globe, we actually have 2 data centers. They're both active, And in each one, there's a second copy. So the customer actually receives 4 copies of their data in 2 different data centers being off-site, and all 4 copies being stored in an immutable format. We also have AES 256-bit encryption, both in transit and at rest, making sure the data does stay safe and secure. And it's purpose built for the cloud with an API first design. Next slide. Let me go through some of the SaaS applications with you now. So these are all key slides coming up that are key value propositions of why Keepit, why Sherweb looked at the marketplace and we approached each other and said, what a great value that we're bringing to the market, because it's very different than our competitors and what they bring and how they bring it. What we solve for is the growth of the SaaS applications that are increasing every single day. And as we've mentioned, based on the market trends, only getting larger. So we today support 8 different SaaS applications. 5 of those 8 SaaS applications are part of a Microsoft suite. So if a lot of your customers may have Microsoft, we support Microsoft 365, Entra IDs, which used to be called Azure Active Directory. When it was on-prem, it was Active Directory. This is extremely important based on those bad actors and ransomware attacks. And I'm going to talk a little bit deeper about this on the value for all of you with MSP as an MSP to be able to bring to your customer. Azure DevOps, Power Platform, and Dynamics 365, and we'll talk a little bit more about Dynamics 365. But if your customer is not on Microsoft, maybe they're using Google Workspace. Guess what? We support that as well. So your smaller customers, maybe your educational customers, may be using Google Workspace. And in addition to that, we support Salesforce and Zendesk. This is my favorite line. But wait, there's more. Next slide. We have right now in our final production stages, we have 6 more SaaS applications we are about to launch mid-year. We're going to be adding support for Okta, Bamboo, which is an HR application for small, medium businesses, Jiro, Miro, DocuSign, and Confluence. And so as we continue to increase, you're going to see us really become more of a platform player in the market, helping you have a single source of a platform to be able to back up and recover all your different customers that you support. And just like you may have different products and components that you're procuring through Sherweb, what our platform from Keepit is going to do for you is be able to give you that single pane of glass, the consistency for your help desk of how to recover a file, how you can send it back, what some of those different options are. Next slide. So as we continue to scale, we talk about security and also encryption. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, AES 256-bit encryption, both in transit and at rest. And we are continuing to always enhance how our security posture continues to strive to not only meet, but exceed the demands in the market. Next slide. Now, we're immutable by design. If some of you may be multitasking right now, I'm going to ask you temporarily, hang on and wait on what you're multitasking with. This is a key element that's the foundation of why we are so different in the market, why we are being called the disruptor in the market, and the simple way of how we come to market. A lot of products are designed to be able to have different options going forward. We put a stake in the ground right from the beginning. We are immutable by design. So what does that mean? The way our platform was built is what is referred to, or what we use is called the Merkle tree architecture. And very simply put, what a Merkle tree architecture software is all about for the design of the platform is it uses a hash file system. What that does for us is it helps you be able to store the data more efficiently using this hash file system. Because we store more efficiently, the recovery is also much faster. But we also store in hot storage all the time. And so what happens with a lot of other SaaS vendors is you may start off as hot storage and 30 days later move into warm storage, and maybe a year later of retention move into cold storage. Well, the problem with that is all about your recovery time, because it becomes slower and slower the colder the storage gets. So because we own our own stack, because we're not storing in the public cloud, we help control your destiny, the customer's destiny. Now, the difference is we're immutable by design, as I've explained to you, because when the backup is complete, it was designed using this Merkle tree architecture, which is very similar to a blockchain-like technology. When the backup is complete, it was designed that you cannot go back and make changes. That's immutable by design. The other option that's in the market is immutable by policy. And so what's immutable by policy? It's when you set a policy to make the data immutable. But the problem with that is if a bad actor ever comes in or somebody discloses what the password is of how you set that policy, they have the ability to break through that password, uncheck a box, and remove the policy so that your data is no longer immutable. And so there's a big contrast between immutable by design versus immutable by policy. The way we built our platform is for the longevity of the storage and the recovery of the data. Next slide. So I spoke about 3-2-1 earlier, 3 copies, 2 locations, one's offsite. What other SaaS vendors are doing today is they're putting all of the eggs in one basket. And so if your solution today is one copy back up into the same public cloud, usually what we hear is, yeah, but it's a different tenant. But you're still back up in the public cloud. There's also fees that come with that. And when Microsoft, AWS, Google all decide they want to increase the cost of an ingress and egress, somebody has to pay for that. And it may not be you on the MSP side. It could be the vendor who's storing back up in the public cloud. But then you have to ask yourself, eventually, it's the trickle down effect. It's eventually going to increase your cost because the cost of storing in the public cloud is becoming more and more expensive. Now, obviously, for production, great place to be, and it's where you should be. But why would you put all your eggs in one basket and put your backup back up into the same public cloud where you have your production? Is that really a backup at that point? That's what you have to ask yourself. Next slide. So purpose built for the cloud. I'm not sure the whole graphic is coming up here, but the way the platform and the product was built is we are a cloud first design. We were built for the cloud. The language that we speak is cloud based. And so what we've seen is there's other vendors in the market who all started off on-prem. Well, on-prem is a different language. And so what they've needed to do is retrofit their product to be able to talk to the cloud. But you lose on some of your aspect of a recovery of what your time is to recover. You lose some of the capabilities and functionality to really be able to scale and migrate as you enhance with more and more SaaS applications. It limits what you can do up into the cloud. Next slide. So let's focus on here. I know we are the first vendor in Sherweb to have an option for Dynamics 365.
Yeah.
And so what we support today in Dynamics 365 is around the CRM focus of Dynamics 365. We are working on our products teams with Microsoft, waiting for them to release the APIs, which we're hearing it could happen in the near future. We don't have any specific dates. Welcome to the world of working with Microsoft, itself on some of these pieces. But we are hoping to have the F&O part, the finance and operations part, and enhanced all of the experience and the ability to back up those components within Dynamics 365 later this year. And again, our relationship with Microsoft allows us to constantly work with them. Our developers are ready to go once we have the ability to do that. But even still, in the whole Microsoft suite, we again, as a reminder, are supporting Microsoft 365, Entra ID, Dynamics 365, Power Platform, and Azure DevOps, all within the Microsoft Suite umbrella. Next slide. So one of the things I want to talk about here and go into a little bit deeper dive on with all of you is Entra ID. And we're one of the first vendors to have launched support of what was called Azure Active Directory, which Microsoft last January changed to calling it Entra ID. Now, every one of you, with all your customers, have to create an identity for each individual employee of the customer, the end customer that you're supporting. Microsoft looks at the identities of all users as actually being more important than human life. This is the brains. This is what bad actors are trying to go after and to steal from companies, because these are the crown jewels. And the crown jewels is what everybody really needs to protect. And so where this really comes in, and I'm going to go through a little bit of detail here in a minute, but where this really fits into an MSP world is I'd ask you today, and I've had lots of conversations with different owners and different levels within MSP organizations. And when you have an end customer who has a user that can't log in to their network because something happened with their credentials, how long does that take your help desk to recover that user? And on average, if they have to rebuild the user's credentials, it could take an hour and a half to 2 hours. So what if we told you that what we created is the ability to back up and restore in the click of a button users' identities? That helps save time and money, resources from your help desk. It allows you not to have to hire more people on your help desk, but still scale your business and bring a part of security to these end user organizations to make sure contractually you don't breach your contract between you and your end user, but you're bringing the security aspect to them for not only protecting on their data plane, but also protecting the control plane of the identities of all these users. Next slide. And so how this breaks down is you have the standard objects of users, groups, administrative users, and roles. These are all, if it accidentally gets deleted, or soft deletes. Within 30 days, if you figure out, hey, some of these components or all of them got deleted, within 30 days, you can go recover any one of these 4 areas. But what happens on the 31st day? Becomes a hard delete. And that hard to delete is the data is gone. Next slide. When you look at the advanced features of Entra ID, what you're seeing on the slide right now, these are all what you call Azure objects. Now, Azure objects are extremely important because they're hard deletes when they're deleted. There is no waiting period. There is no recovery. And so whether it's your conditional access policies, where people are allowed to go, what they can see, your enterprise apps, your app registrations, your Microsoft Intune for endpoint devices, you have any customers that have regulatory needs and they ask you for a monthly report, you also can pull down on a monthly basis the audit logs, your sign-in logs, and it also protects BitLocker keys. Now, we've had some MSPs and end customers say, hey, I think I'm protected because I'm actually storing all of these identities on-prem. So because I'm keeping it out of the Azure cloud, I'm okay. And the answer is no, you're not. And this is the hard part of the conversation sometimes as a trusted advisor to have with MSPs and end customer organizations, because we go back and we say to them, go call Microsoft and ask Microsoft, because Microsoft does not support recovery of Azure objects from on-prem to the Azure cloud. And because they want everybody to move all of their data into Azure, they don't support these Azure objects and a recovery from on-prem into the cloud, which means if any one of these components you see on the screen needs to be recovered because a user can't log in, their identities got corrupt, or a bad actor came and hijacked them all, this is a manual process for your help desk. And the way you can get around this is you have another application that you get to sell to your customer, bring value to them, and help save time and money on your help desk, because it becomes maybe more of a 15-minute conversation with that individual. You point, you click, you recover their identities, and your IT person gets off the phone. And the experience for your end customer becomes much greater. It makes your contract much stickier with your end users as well. Next slide. So, on an overall aspect, when you're looking what is and who is the right SaaS backup and recovery solution for you, remember the secret sauce is in the recovery. We have a very simple fixed price modeling. And we're going to go through this in a little bit of detail here in the slides, but it's not based on consumption. It's based on a per user basis. On each SaaS application, each one is sold separate. Each one has a price based on the number of users that you want to back up in that particular SaaS application. And it becomes very simple. You'll choose whether you want 10-year retention or unlimited retention. But the unlimited data consumption is included. We have no hidden costs. There is no egress or ingress charges. Remember, we control your destiny and the pricing destiny because we have our own independent cloud that's safe and secure. And so there are no additional ingress or egress charges. It's a way to simplify how you conduct business with your end customers as well. We went through all the different security aspects, the ISO 27001. We have SSO and MFA for those of you that need to enhance that as well. And also how easy our search capability is. I highly recommend to ping Sherweb. Their teams are fully trained and up to speed to show you demos, to show how simple this is. I can't tell you how many end customer, MSP customer meetings that I've been on, and that we show a demo. And I make it a point personally at the end of every call, I will always ask, tell us your feedback. What did you think of the platform? What did you think of the ease of use? And consistently, the answers are, wow, I didn't realize how easy your platform is to use. It really is user friendly. I don't even know if I need any training on it. It's easy to go figure this out on ourselves. And so our way of onboarding MSPs becomes very simple because of the ease of use. All of the enhanced capabilities is what's driving us to be able to scale our business, have industry analysts look at us and call us a disruptor because we're simplifying how to go to market to help you protect all of your end customers. Next slide. So what it really comes down to is predictability. Now remember, the easier we can make your life, the easier Sherweb can help make your life, the more sticky you are to your end customers because of the predictability of costs. It's not based on consumption. It's based on a per user basis with unlimited consumption. No ingress, no egress charges. Your choice is going to be, do you want 10-year retention? Or is there a regulatory need or a requirement for your customer that they may need more than 10? You would upsell into an unlimited, and that goes up to 99 years. And oh, by the way, hot storage, your recovery is always stored, even if you select 99 years. You get 2 backups a day, white glove service automatically happens. When that backup is complete, it's immutable by design. You're also getting 4 copies in 2 different data centers being offsite and stored in an immutable format. So predictability of cost helps you run your business much more efficiently than any other option that's out there. Next slide, Capster.
All right. So Keepit at Sherweb, that was a wealth of information from Rick. So thank you for that. As you can tell, the product is quite robust, and we're very excited about the partnership and to be able to carry the product within our portfolio of continuity products. And what do you get when you work with Sherweb and with Keepit? So you'll get our high quality onboarding and support, which we've been known for throughout the industry. As Rick alluded to a little bit earlier, we have our support teams that are also trained on the product. And the onboarding process is very smooth. And you can get up and running right away. And we have direct lines into Keepit should we need to discuss anything with them. So that partnership is very robust in nature. Even though this is the launch, we've spent a lot of time in the background making sure that we've essentially created all the documentation for our MSPs to make sure that this product is a success. Discounts and rebates are available. So for those of you who have worked with Sherweb, you know the different tiers that we have. We have very attractive pricing on the product, and then rebates being available as well. And automated provisioning and synchronization. So everything on one bill with Sherweb. And the provisioning is very quick on the product. We've made sure that we've integrated correctly with the Keepit platform. It's been tried and tested, and it's ready to go. So as I mentioned, I'm super excited about the partnership and what we bring to the table with Keepit to make this a very smooth process for all of our partners. So getting started, there's 2 ways to get started, or 3 ways, I should say. One, if you're familiar with the Keepit product and you're ready to spin up environments, then you can go into your account and do that right away. It's available. We also have 14-day trials for customers, and also NFR licenses available if you'd like to try it in that method as well. There's a new activation process for those of you who are Sherweb customers. In the vendor management tab in the Cumulus platform, you'll see Keepit there. As I mentioned, it's super streamlined now. You can just create the account and begin spinning up those workloads accordingly. And you'll also receive this deck. As I mentioned, it's a wealth of information. You'll be able to review that. You can watch the video for a quick demo, or you can also book a demo with our SMEs who, as Rick mentioned, are fully trained to deliver the feature sets of the products and showcase that accordingly. So some useful resources. So once you have this deck in hand, there is the Keepit website. There's the ability to book a demo, whether you'd like it in English or in French. And there are some product sheets as well if you're looking for a quick one-pager on Entra ID or M365. And then also why choosing Keepit. So it's a condensed version of what Rick went into in terms of their unique selling propositions, and you can have that on hand as needed. So brings us to the end of our presentation. Any questions from the audience, for myself or for Rick, or about the product? We'd be happy to help. I believe we do have some Keepit technical resources in the audience as well to take any of those questions.
So I see one that come in. Let me address this one. It has to do with how long does it take to onboard? And so very simple process for the MSP. It's a simple onboarding process through Sherweb. And so once you establish yourself with your account, it's very simple. There's a multi-tenancy platform. And so every end user is treated independent. And with the global admin ID, it establishes the link up into the Microsoft cloud or whichever cloud it's going to from the production. And then that gets removed. And then it's just a matter of time for the data to get backed up. And it truly is that simple. We've seen 20 minutes, half hour. And so very short time on the experience of being able to come on board and bring your customers on board as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And like I said, if there's any questions that you think of later, you'll have the contact information for myself and Rick that'll be included with this deck as well. So.
Super.
Perfect.
If no other questions, I'll say thank you first. Casper, thank you very much. Thanks, Sherweb. We're excited to be partners with you and what value you bring out into the marketplace as well. And for all of you that attended today or are listening in a recorded mode, thank you so much for taking the time. We're here. Sherweb is here also with any additional questions that may come up in the future. And thank you so much. And thank you, Casper.
Yeah, and thanks everybody for joining. Like I said, excited about this partnership with Keepit, and we're looking forward to proposing the solution to all of our MSP customers.